particular process. The supervisor's problems in implementing educational supervision. As an administrator, you need to be well aware of what may be the problems that your supervisors or your frontline supervisors may have in implementing educational supervision and recognizing their limitations. And you also need to be cognizant of your own difficulties as an individual in terms of implementing educational supervision. Keeping current exploitation, over-identification, limitations of skills, uncertainty of your own knowledge, and likes and dislikes are some critical characteristics and issues that arise in implementing educational supervision at all different levels. Do your staff, or do you know what is the state of the art with respect to the positions or the job in terms of helping your employees perform the work that they're supposed to perform? Are you keeping up with the state of the art? I had a manager, which was one of my better managers, which was a good manager, who was a good manager. But she didn't learn anything beyond 10 years after she kept on doing things very well based on what was done a long time ago. But she was still, one of my better managers. If this person would have pursued their education, perhaps they could have done even more. I don't know. Exploitation. Some people and some managers supervise because they're meeting their own needs as opposed to meeting the needs of their staff. They want to develop models or images of themselves through their staff. Over-identification, becoming too protective of your staff, can create difficulties in terms of allowing people to go out and make mistakes and feel comfortable that they can make mistakes and come back and talk with you about it. Limitations of skills. Sometimes you need to recognize that you may not know everything in terms of what you can and cannot do. Uncertainty or lack of confidence of your own knowledge in terms of what you have the ability to do with staff. You don't always have to be a subject matter content expert, but you need to know how to pull people together or obtain information. So if you're developing training from a macro perspective or a larger perspective, you need to be able to know how to extract information from your experts in the field, or when to seek out these individuals in terms of what it is that they can do, what you can do. Likes and dislikes, I think, is pretty self-evident and can cause a problem in terms of limitations in implementing. Barriers to learning. 4 basic conditions have been identified by Merriam and Brockett, who devote a whole chapter focusing on what causes limits to individual learning. Geographic conditions, demographic factors, socioeconomic conditions, and economic factors and cultural determinants are these major conditions. In terms of geography, we can divide our communities into urban, suburban, and rural. And as what seems obvious, rural communities have less resources than urban settings, and industrial countries have more resources. And still, there may be difficulties in inner cities with respect to having resources in terms of providing educational learning opportunities, for staff and for individuals. Accessibility is very, very important. Demographic factors influence who learns and who doesn't learn. Younger and middle-aged individuals may participate in more learning activities than older adults, obviously because the younger and the middle-aged staff person needs to learn and continue to learn because of their job requirements, whereas a more senior person may not necessarily need to learn, depending upon the makeup of that individual's personality and where they're coming from. So age, well, the role of age may change as we realize that people are getting older. Other demographics may include whether the makeup of individuals in terms of whether they learn more or learn less. In wealthier nations, men are more likely to hold higher jobs and get paid better than women, which isn't correct. Socioeconomic conditions and education also influence learning. And there's this thing called social capital, where if I have more resources or I have more exposures because of my economics and where I'm coming from, I may be able to or have more opportunities and less of a barrier in my learning. And cultural determinants also have a significant factor with learning, in that immigrant populations tend not to participate as much in educational activities as native-born Americans, or in minorities have less opportunities often as compared to majority group of individuals. Developmental supervision. Working with your staff, assuming that your staff person can grow. And this is what developmental supervision is about. It's about expanding the growth of your staff individuals and helping them move forward. And sometimes this growth may be incremental. It may go through stages. And as your staff begin to grow, not just as individuals, but as a unit and maybe as a department, you may become less hierarchical and more collegial. And you will see differences in the relationship as it becomes more interactional and individuals sharing learning experiences and sharing opportunities with one another.